Emily first noticed him on a cold autumn afternoon. The community library in her small Midwest town wasn't anything special: old carpets, slow computers, the soft hum of fluorescent lights. But it was the one place where she could breathe. Between college stress, double shifts at her diner job, and the pressure of supporting her younger brother, Emily carried more weight than most 21-year-olds ever should. Maybe that's why she noticed him. He wasn't loud. He didn't draw attention. He just existed quietly, sitting at the corner table, hoodie on, earphones barely hanging, reading a book that looked like it belonged to another century. There was something about him, a stillness, a warmth, that pulled her eyes toward him even when she tried to focus on her textbooks. And that's how it began. She felt something for him before she even knew his name. For almost a month they didn't speak. But every day when Emily stepped inside the library, she hoped quietly, secretly, that he'd be there. And he always was. Same time, same table, same gentle concentration. Sometimes their eyes met. Sometimes they shared a small smile. But neither crossed the invisible line. Still, the silence between them felt strangely comforting, like a conversation without words. Until that one embarrassing moment. Emily rushed to pack her things one evening, and her bag tipped over. Pens, coins, receipts, everything scattering across the floor. Before she could react, he was already beside her, kneeling, picking up her things with calm, warm hands. Their eyes locked. That was the first moment she truly saw him. And the first time he smiled at her. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I should have approached slower. Didn't mean to bump into you." "You didn't," she whispered, though her heartbeat was doing backflips. Something shifted that day. Something small, but real. 2 days later it rained. One of those sudden heavy downpours that Midwest towns are famous for. Emily stood under the library awning, hugging her laptop to her chest, watching the storm blur the street. "Looks like we're stranded together," a familiar voice said beside her. It was him. They talked for the first time, awkward jokes, soft laughter, little details. And then finally, "I'm Noah," he said. A simple introduction, but it felt like a missing word she'd known all her life. Emily, Noah, names that suddenly made sense together. They started meeting intentionally now. Sometimes in the library, sometimes at the small coffee shop where Emily worked. Sometimes while walking through the quiet, leaf-covered park. He wasn't like other guys she'd known. He didn't try too hard. He didn't pretend. He listened, really listened, when she talked about her tough childhood, her responsibilities, her dream of becoming a writer, even though life barely gave her time to breathe. And when he spoke, he didn't hide behind jokes or bravado. His honesty made her feel safe. She found herself looking for him, waiting for him, missing him. Slowly, unknowingly, she was falling for him. Then suddenly, he disappeared. No calls, no texts, no visits to the library. A day passed, then a week, then 2. Emily tried not to panic, but it felt like someone had unplugged the light from her life. Every day she walked into the library hoping, begging, that he'd be there. But he wasn't. She didn't know why his absence hurt so much. Maybe because he was her escape. Maybe because he felt like a future she wasn't ready to lose. Maybe because she had fallen in love before she even knew if she had the right to. One chilly evening, as Emily walked out of the grocery store, she saw him sitting alone on a bench near the parking lot. No hoodie, no books, just tired eyes and a defeated posture. "Noah," she whispered, her voice shaky. He looked up, guilt filling his expression. "Emily, I'm so sorry I disappeared." Tears burned in her eyes, but she held them back. He told her everything. His mother had collapsed. A sudden medical emergency. Hospital bills piling up. He'd taken extra jobs, overnight shifts, anything to keep things afloat. "I didn't want to drag you into my mess," he said. "You deserve someone who has it together. Someone without all this." Emily sat beside him, took his hand in both of hers, and said softly, "Noah, when life gets hard, you don't push people away. You let them stay. You're not a burden. You're someone worth standing beside." His eyes filled with tears he'd been holding back for weeks. For the first time he leaned into her fully, honestly. And she held him like she'd been waiting to. From that moment on, they became inseparable in the ways that matter. She sat with him during hospital nights. He brought her coffee during her early shifts. They balanced responsibilities, shared pain, grew stronger. He supported her writing. She supported his family. Life didn't turn perfect. Bills still came. Work was still exhausting. Dreams were still distant. But now they faced everything together. As partners. As friends. As soul-level companions. As two people who chose each other when it mattered most. When things finally stabilized, when Noah's mom recovered, when Emily got her first writing contract, when they moved into their small but cozy apartment, they often sat outside on the porch during quiet evenings. One such evening, Noah took her hand, smiled softly, and whispered, "You loved me before you even knew my name." Emily leaned her head on his shoulder and replied, "Maybe my heart recognized you long before my mind did."